Question I see asked a lot. Interview tips. So there's several things to keep in mind when going for an interview, when you're going, especially in the medical field, and it's not nursing. So if it's business office, management, billing, doesn't matter what it is. Look classy. Be classy. And by classy, you don't have to, just dressy casual. Dressy casual. Make it look as though you care about your appearance. Okay, so once you're in the interview, if you're going for an interview for a position that you know that you're qualified for, you meet all the requirements, whether it's a degree, certification, whatever. If you're going for something like that, confidence. Confidence exudes. Um, you know what you want, you know what you're going for, and you're going to get it. One of the I've played both the interviewer and the interviewee, and one of the things that I see on both sides of the coin is when somebody asks you, tell me your strengths and your weaknesses. Do not say, I'm a go-getter, I get things done. No. When they ask you what your strengths are, when I'm given a task, I don't allow subpar, cut any corners, go above it. I give a listing, like if you think of a particular task, give the steps in which you would do that task. They hear all day, every day, strengths and weaknesses from different ones. The way to stand out is to list things specifically that you have experience with. Don't say, I'm punctual, I'm honest, I'm loyal. No. Give specific examples. So for me, I would say, if I'm given a project that has a really high AR level, I'm going to run the report. I'm going to look at my oldest claims. Depending upon the dollar amounts, if we're in surgery, I'm going to look at my highest dollar amount and my oldest claims, and I'm going to get those first. Explain what your talents are. Explain what your strengths are. And when it comes to your weaknesses, don't be afraid to say, it's something I'm working on, but this. Or don't use the word but. I'm working on being I'm trying to think of a good example. If you say, maybe you're one that likes to talk to other people. I'm working on not being as much of a social butterfly. There we go. Maybe you are a talker and you like to talk. Maybe you understand that you shouldn't maybe talk as much, and so I'm working on not being a social butterfly as much as I have been in the past. That could be a weakness. Don't come in and say, I'm a procrastinator, I tend to show up late. Who's going to want to hire somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? So think about your responses and make them honest from here, and what's going to make you sound as though you're a little educated. Why would you be the best person for the job? When I'm asked what makes me think that I would be the best candidate for the job, I would say, in my experience, in my previous positions that I've held, I have always been a project tackler. I tend to take things that are challenging and master them. The position may not be a challenging position. It could be an easy one. Say it's registration. I understand the importance of getting the information for billing purposes. I understand that I need to make sure that I get copies of insurance cards. I understand I need to get a copy of ID cards, because ID cards can verify dates of birth for you if the patient happens to give you the wrong date of birth. There's all kinds of different things that goes into registration. So the positions you're applying for, think of the importance of that position and of that job. Take those elements and tie them into why you're good at. Don't say things to the fact of, well, at my previous position, I was better than all the other people because I stayed late and I got the job done. No. You're putting yourself above others. One of the keys is to be humble. Show humility. Don't try to make yourself better than other people, because they could probably come back and say the exact same thing. Give reasons as to why you are good at what you do. Not, I was the top project leader because I didn't gossip. Those kinds of things. Keep it professional. Giving steps of certain job functions that that job's going to entail. So those would be my suggestions for any job interview. When it comes down to resumes, I, as an employer, am going to look and see if I see a person that has been in the last 2 years at 3 clinics or 3 different jobs. I'm going to ask them, what made you leave the first one? Why'd you leave the second one? And why'd you leave the third one? And why are you interested in this one? Answers that are going to make us question are going to be, I didn't get along with my supervisor. The best way to say I didn't get along with my supervisor in a professional setting is to say, the supervisor that I had, we had different views of how things should be ran. If you left a position for more money, let them know at that time in my life, my living expenses or my requirements to function in life required this much, and I was reached out by company B. They offered me this, and after contemplating for a good period of time, I decided to go ahead and take it. Leaving one job after another for more money is okay, but look at your time frame in the period that you do that. Because if I'm going to interview, especially a front desk position, if I look at their resume and I see in a 5-year span, I see 4 clinics. That's barely a year at each clinic. That's barely time enough to really set foot into a clinic and get to fully know the nuances of that staff. So I'm going to be looking to see what your reasoning is behind leaving each place. If it was, I got bored, or I didn't like it, or I didn't get along with the people there, they took advantage of me. Though things like that are opinionated. Make it factual. So if you go to Clinic A and you're there 9 months and your boss says, hey, let's see, what's a good example? We need you to do this. When you're doing your resume, if you're at one office and you start in one position, but you change over and you go to a different position, on your resume, put underneath that employer, started this date doing this, got promoted or started doing this on this date. That way it lets us know that you worked your way up. Okay, you're working at Clinic A. Your friend who works over in Clinic B said, "Hey, so and so's leaving, and I know they make such and such an hour. I bet you could do that." Not take into account your responsibilities at Clinic A and the really great situations they've set up for you. All you're doing is seeing dollar signs, which yes, we all need more money. But weigh out your benefits and I'm not talking about your health benefits. I'm talking about your benefits of what does this provider at this first office offer me? Do I have flexibility? You know, if I can, is the possibility of being able to work from home, or two, the flexibility of being able to go to a doctor's appointment without having to pull a lot of strings. Are they working with you before you hop over to Clinic B? Okay, so you've gone over to Clinic B because they're offering $20 an hour versus the $15 an hour that you were getting at Clinic A. And so you go to Clinic B after about 9 months of being at Clinic A. Um, then you've been there a few months, and all of a sudden you're scrolling through and you see, oh, somebody's advertising for a position for Clinic C for even more money. Let's think about this. How long has it been? Getting more money is okay, but on paper, when you're asked at a job interview later on down the line, they're going to ask you, why is there 3 jobs in a year or 2 years? So really think about that before you go job hopping. Weigh out your flexibility, your supervisor. Do they work with you? Are they sweet? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? Or are they cold by the book drill sergeant? Those are things that I look at whenever one, I'm interviewing, or two, I'm interviewing someone, and if I can tell by their facial expression or their demeanor how they respond in conjunction to that, particular office that I'm asking about. So lots of things to consider whenever you're going for job interviews, and answering questions. And if you've had, more than a few job on your resume, it's not looking too good, just explain what's going on. Because if there's one thing I've learned in this industry, you can work at one office and it just not go right. You feel constantly like you're coming up short, you're being criticized or whatever, but you go over to Clinic B and you thrive. Every person has just the right clinic that they're going to thrive and survive. They're going to be a home run hitter. They're going to be a top-notch employee that they were not at the first clinic they were at. Just because of the fact that each environment is different and what you have to offer each office and the needs that are there are going to be different. So the first couple clinics I was at, I wasn't the best employee, but that next clinic that I got to, man, I thrived and I worked my way up. And because I worked my way up, I developed a reputation. And the next thing you know, I'm being recommended. I was at one OB office for like 8-9 years. They closed the doors because one of the doctors moved out of state and another joined another group practice, and I was contract labor. And so they didn't need another biller there when she joined this practice. So I stayed home and took care of my parents and did whatnot. Well, that provider, another OB-GYN, was looking to bring their billing in-house. She recommended me to him. Well, then another provider needed help with getting her billing cleaned up, so he recommended to me her. So now I'm working both of them. Okay, so Dr. B has a nurse practitioner friend of hers that needs help getting credentialed. She told this person that I'm really great at that. So now I've got provider C. Still working with provider A, helping provider B. She sent me to provider C to help with her credentialing and eventually help with her billing. So how you conduct yourself, your willingness to learn, and even if it's stepping out into something that you've never done before. So showing initiative, not saying that's not my job, because first time that I hear somebody say, I'm not doing that, that's not my job, Okay. So when something comes up that I need a position filled, I'm probably not going to consider that person because I'm going to ask them, since this isn't your job, are you going to be interested? That kind of situation. How you respond, your tone, your delivery, your uh, ability to show initiative, and sometimes excitement. Your facial expressions and your demeanor are everything. So if you really want to thrive in a place, show that initiative. Show that you're really truly invested. Because if I don't have somebody that's invested, they're just coming to collect a paycheck versus actually putting themselves and caring about the practice, I'm probably not going to give them a whole lot of time a day. So shoot me any questions, and y'all have a great day.